All right, welcome back. We have another ANBF quick cast where we get to meet the promoters that are on board with the American Natural Bodybuilding Federation. Today, we are welcoming Mike Ventura. He is a new ANBF promoter, but he is not new to the sport at all. So I want to first start, like we always do. I want to give Mike a chance to introduce himself, go over some of his background, and then we will, we'll go from there. So, Mike, it's all yours.
Well, thank you very much, Ryan, for having me. Excited to be here, get the opportunity to share. Uh, so basically, quick bio. I'm a family man. I have three children, four grandchildren, a fifth on the way, a couple of dogs, self-employed, and then I'm a competitive bodybuilder and soon to be promoter. Um, my introduction to the sport was in the late 90s, and I was in my late 20s and just doing my thing, lifting. Really had no aspirations about bodybuilding, just lifting. At that point, I was still kind of in my ego phase, wanted to be big as a house, strong as I could possibly be. And the gym I was training at, one of the OG bodybuilders, started, encouraging me, planted the seed, and it didn't take right away, with the small briefs and stuff. There was, a little bit to wrap my head around, but the seed took, and after a few months, I considered it. Back then, with technology, I'm usually a little late to the party. So at that point, I didn't have internet and I didn't have a cell phone so my only exposure was like a poster on the gym wall, and happened to turn out to be an NPC show right in my home state. It was close by in Rhode Island, and competed in that. Competed in that same show the following year, and I think I did a third NPC show, maybe in Connecticut. So that was all between like 98 and 2001. So that was my initial introduction. And then because the way I was training so heavy and so hard, the injuries, started to creep in a little bit. I think I was probably a little bit burned out. About that time, I changed positions within my company, and I started working like 25 more hours a week. So, life happened, and, I kind of went off the bodybuilding path a little bit there. So basically, the next decade plus, it was, spans of time where there was no working out, spans of time where working out was very inconsistent. And the consistent workouts were really few and far between. So, I ended up gaining a lot of weight. I was at 5'8". I was probably like 235, 240. I was very unhealthy at that. So this puts us at around 2013. Um, I just needed to get healthy. I had a 2-year-old son. My son was 2 at the time. I was separated, about to get divorced. I wanted to get healthy. No thoughts about, introducing bodybuilding into my life. Just wanted to get healthy. And it started slow. It was probably like, 3 times a week, full body workouts. And then it morphed into a little bit more, split routine. And, the momentum built probably about 6 to 8 months. And I got the itch and started to look around at that point to see what was out there.
So, I mean, yeah, at that point, you hear a lot of people, they come into the sport, and some will have a longer shelf life, some have a short shelf life. For the most part, minus the female demographic, because sometimes they're taking a break because of having a kid and stuff like that.
Sure.
But a lot of people, when they exit the sport for that long of a period of time, you have about a little more than a decade gap there.
Yeah.
People who are leaving the sport for that period of time usually don't come back.
Yeah.
So for you to come back, that does show that there was that passion there. It probably was always there. Life got in the way, but you were able to make your way back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that was I started getting healthy about 2013, and then I competed. So at obviously at this point I had internet, cell phone, I had, much more exposure. I knew, what was out there, the different, natty organizations and stuff. And I think I settled with the OCB just because there was a particular show that kind of lined up time wise and location wise. So I got my start with the OCB 2014, competed with them through my pro card. In 2019 or 2018, the pandemic year, I was all planned. I was ready to go that year. Ended up still doing the Mr. America. I think that was the first year they brought it back. So that was a pretty great experience. And after the Mr. America, my plan was to do a couple of WNBF shows, a couple of Nancy shows in Massachusetts. And I was looking to get that WNBF Pro card at that point. So this was in the fall of the pandemic year. And to travel, I live in Rhode Island. To travel to Massachusetts, you had to get, you had to go to a CVS or whatever. You had to prove that you were negative. And even though I was feeling great, I came back positive for COVID, and that kind of ended the season there. Took 4 years off, and then came back this year with a full head of steam. Was really gunning for the WNBF Pro card. Started out in May at Kent's ANBF Nationals. Had an awesome experience with that. Took a win there, which was cool, and then jumped into Nancy's Spring Mania. Followed that up with a win. So I was hitting the ground running, and then but the WNBF, it's a tough nut to crack with the pro card. So I grinded, but I didn't meet that objective. I ended up finishing off the year at Worlds, but as an amateur. So this year, taught me a lot about myself and exposed me to the ANBF, WNBF, and I also competed in the OCB one time again. So I was exposed, to a lot of different shows, a lot of different, promoting styles, which I think will suit me well going forward.
So in that period, so how many times have you competed since you started? I think I saw 16 times in the last decade, or is that 16 times total?
So it's 19 total.
Gotcha.
So the three
16. Okay.
NPC shows on my first run, and then in the natty organizations, it's been 16. With actually 10 of the 16 came this year.
Oh,
Quite a
okay.
psycho
Yeah,
run,
yeah.
but
Yeah, big run.
yeah.
All right, so you definitely know your way around the landscape and the natural organization. So you've popped around, you've been in the sport, you've been out of the sport, you've been back in, you've been at all these other organizations, multiple
Yeah.
organizations. So when and why did the itch excel to the point of you wanted to jump into event promotion?
Sure. So throughout the course of this year, so I was prepping from February through November, so it was pretty much a full year thing. And it's a huge part of my life, and I love it. So at some point throughout the year, the competitive year, I thought about how can I get more involved? I love this so much. I'm so passionate about it. What else can I do? And I knew judging really wasn't my thing. And working a show, being an expediter, that would be cool, but that would be like a one-off thing. I'd help somebody out, or I'd give my time for one show, and then that would kind of be it. So I was looking for a little bit more. And so the wheels are turning. I'm thinking about this, and then as the season goes on, I see what the ANBF is doing, the growth, the expansion. Very exciting time, adding new shows. And I knew that I looked, and Rhode Island was kind of open. You were doing your thing in Mass, taking over for Nancy, and Miss Turtle was coming on board in New Hampshire, and you got Scott in Maine, and Rhode Island was kind of free. So I thought, hey, why not? And I knew based on my experience at nationals with Kent, I loved the experience there. If that wasn't a good experience, maybe I wouldn't have, you know, reached out. In combination with the other two organizations, much bigger, more established, not a lot of room for growth. They're kind of set in their ways. And what the ANBF was doing was, it's exciting. It's the little guy trying to carve out their spot in the industry and the underdog. And I kind of like that. And it just all kind of made sense and fit for me. So I think it's a really good fit. I'm very excited about it.
All right, so that drew you into that promoter role. You chose the
Yep.
ANBF because you felt like the vision, all that stuff aligned with your values and what you were looking for. And I was in a similar
Absolutely.
situation where how much growth could I possibly have other places? How much creative freedom would I have?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go in. I knew that if I was going to do anything positive for the industry, I can't be handcuffed. Someone's got to
Yeah.
get in there and they got to get their hands dirty and they got to push the ball forward.
Yep.
And I was fortunate that Kent allowed me in. And sorry, I was fortunate that Kent did allow me in and gave me that opportunity.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the landscape, one, I'm going to be honest, I would never work for the WNBF.
Yeah.
It's not happening. WNBF post Nancy has got no future for me. So options became, where could I possibly see myself growing? Where could we make the biggest impact and
Sure.
really make changes to the industry? And that's similar to me, like how you thought AMBF would be a good fit. I know and feel and appreciate that same mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hear
So,
you.
in terms of your AMBF show, why don't you take me through, some of the things you're thinking about, some of the visions for your show. What do you want to do? What do you want to provide? How do you want to be creative
Mm.
uh, with your approach to event promotion?
Yeah. So, still being a competitor, like I'm in the thick of it. So, I look at it as, the athlete, what are the things that I like? What are the things that I don't like? And, this past season, just, I have a whole bunch of knowledge, competing in, with Kent, the excitement and the fire and what he brings, Nancy, the out of the box thinking and the different, cohorts and the things that she's come up with, the way she, does her back room and different things. And even Sully in the OCB, the way, with his military background, how everything is regimented and so on time. And, so I hope to bring a little bit from each of them and then, bring my own style, what I like as a competitor. Um, but I'm staying, very humble about it. I know I'm a first timer, so I know there's going to be some missteps and, mistakes. But what I can promise is that, the information, the communication, the things I can control, before the show actually starts, will be on point. And then obviously on show day, I'll do my best to handle situations as they arise. But, I will be inexperienced. So, it might not go 100% according to plan. I know Kent will be there. He'll have my back. So, but as far as the actual event, looking to bring some, I know as a competitor, every competitor has a different viewpoint on what it is. There are times most of the shows I competed at this year, it was a business trip. It was all business. I was, honed in, dialed in 100%. So what did I like? I like efficiency, details, communication, everything working the way it was supposed to be, a routine, knowing what was going to happen, before it happened. But I realized there are some competitors that, they work their ass off. They bring their best physique to the stage and just getting on that stage, like they already won. So they want to have fun They want to have a good time. They want it to be memorable. So, nice specialty awards, Tridents, our Trident logo, best poser, best presentation, some standard stuff. A surprise award that, you know, kind of is dear to my heart, something that has meaning to me that I'm going to kind of keep under wraps for now, but that should be pretty cool. And just create a fun experience, but at the same time, you know the structure and the routine that bodybuilders love as well. So, just trying to bring the whole package based on my competitive experience and those great promoters that I've competed in their shows. So I'm trying to bring the whole package.
Yeah, and I agree with that. You have to have strong fundamentals, no matter what. You can't go in with glitz and glam and shiny objects and all that stuff and lack the fundamentals. Because I've seen that
Yeah,
happen too. It's like, all show, no go. All right.
yeah,
And I've also
yeah,
seen shows that are all go, no show, where it's like, okay, I know what I'm getting here. Good quality athletes. There'll be a lot of people here. It's definitely going to be a show. And then it's just like, okay, so where's the other stuff?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The key is with each promoter, I feel within their own lane of creativity. Because when you promote, every promoter has their own distinct personality. Like I am not
Sure.
going to promote or market like Turtle and vice versa. It shouldn't
Yeah,
be
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
And same thing with me and Kent or you and I. We can share things from each other, but the key is for each
Sure.
promoter in their own comfortable creative realm to be able to
Yeah,
provide the fundamentals like that you spoke about, like communication. These things are I view them as simple, but apparently we're in an industry where
sure.
it's not as simple. You know,
Yeah,
communication, flow of information, stuff like that. Keep things on time, keep people updated, be engaging, be on top of the questions and the responses. Those are the big fundamentals. And then once your fundamentals are
sure.
filled in, that's when you have to, it is entertaining. You are providing a service. You want those athletes there to compete, yes, but they're going there and you want them to bring their friends and their family and you want everyone to have a good time. It is an event, it is a promotion, it is a
Sure.
business,
Yeah,
yes, but it is still, you still got to provide an experience for not only the competitors but also for the coaches and the judges and the people who are
yeah,
helping and that audience. And that is the key right there. So that is a challenge that you're going to face. I'm going to face. Most promoters face, and some promoters don't even realize that that's what they have to do. They're just so stuck in their
yeah,
ways. But going
yeah,
back full circle to that idea that the ANBF and where we're at now, we are in a good growing and expansion phase. There is room for growth. We have a lot of things that we can try and figure out without certain bureaucratic messes. I'm not
yeah,
trying to have a leviathan of bureaucratic mess. I want
yeah,
to go with things that work. I want to give the promoters and Kent as well. Kent is in lockstep with me with this. Certain
yeah,
things have got to be standardized, but other things, creative freedom. Creative freedom and
yeah.
autonomy is always going to let the remarkable people put out their best product.
Absolutely. And when one of the pros to being, on the smaller side currently is you have more flexibility, more creativity to that. So
Yeah.
that's one of the plus, I think. Yeah.
So, in closing, we're talking about you coming in. You're going to use that experience as a competitor, right? And you're going to take that and you're going to promote. You want to bring things to the next level. You kind of want to, I'm in the same boat. I haven't
Yep.
competed nearly as much as you. My career ended in 2014. I think I only competed like 5 or 6 times. But,
Okay.
on top of that, I have that coaching background. I've been around the block.
Yeah.
So I know what bothers me here and
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
So that's my focus.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. You ended in 2014, and I, jumped into the natty scene in 2014, like two ships in the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I'm very excited.
in closing, what do you got to say to those people out there who want to know more about your show, interested in your show? What do you got to say to them?
Yeah. Come check us out on Instagram, ANBF Ocean State, and it is it is a good weather show, but I tried to get it, right in front of, the good fall season. So whether you're looking at it as a starter show, a feeder show, getting cut for the summer, you can spend the weekend close to Newport, Rhode Island on the coast, enjoy the weather, enjoy the seafood, and yeah, I say give it a try. We're going to try to make it something fun and something special. And I first time, I know it could take some time to get rolling, but I'm committed for the long haul. So, but yeah, it would be nice to to bust out of the gates with a good one. So,
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Just stay true to the message.
yep,
You'll have good awards. Put on a good event. From there, full steam ahead.
yep, absolutely.
All
All
right.
right.
So we will keep in touch.
All right, absolutely, Ryan. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.